So let's see now, shifting out. We're collecting them and sifting out from the impurities. Now that's a heavy idea. In the process of Gestalt therapy or in the Kabbalah, we have the idea of opposites that somehow or other are burnt up, destroyed, negated in order to allow the new idea to come forth. That's the idea of, dialectically speaking, that's the idea of thesis, antithesis, synthesis. Thesis, antithesis, synthesis. X is the thesis, something or other. X minus X is the two opposites laid out as an antithesis to and synthesis is the idea of somehow not just compromise, but somehow the two of them coming together into a higher level in which both of them are destroyed, burnt up, and then like a phoenix out of the ashes, the new idea emerges, which is encompassing enough to include the two old ones and move it up to a higher level by some kind of a quantum leap of energy. So we have if you want to think in terms of thermodynamics, we have an energy of activation which pops the system out from that circle into the next higher level in a spiral. Okay, so that's... Now how do we talk about... that same process is called tzimtzum. Tzimtzum in the Kabbalah. Why? Because in order to do that, we need to tzamtzem, we need to contract. The tzamtzem is to contract. Each of the two elements, the x and the minus x that are strung out there in that impasse, each of them needs to contract. Each of the two sides of the ego needs to, in a sense, die to be reborn, to contract. For example, if I say, I'm good, you're bad. So me feeling that I'm so good and you're so bad, both of those points of view have to die here. Contract, so that the new point of view that we are having a dialogue together, that point of view can emerge, in which I sometimes see you as good and bad, or good or bad. That more enlightened idea can emerge from the death or from the softening of the dialectic there. By the way, we're going to talk in a little while about the antenna of the locust antenna. Where's that? In azamra? Yeah, that's a commentary to azamra. The idea that the antennae of the locusts are soft. If they were hard, they would crash against the willow tree, and the locust couldn't have senses anymore. But because they're soft, he can fly around in willow trees and not have any big problems with crashing into x's and minus x's, oppositions. So that's a profound connection there.
I dreamed that I simply killed him in a rage. But when he actually began dying, I tried to make him well again by kisses. It was no use. I suffered such anxiety that I felt on the point of death myself, so that I woke. So that is the way you think of him, I said to myself that night. You must forgive him everything. And you know, I have forgiven him everything. Everything. Then I fell asleep again. I went on dreaming that he actually did die. Once more I was seized by anxiety. It was certain as life, or something of that sort, that as soon as he died, I would die with him. Rachel speaks directly to an image of NACHMAN, which she projects over the heads of the audience. So this is your and my end. This is the way we are dying. This is our death. So I have killed you after all, for I am dying with you. The musical introduction to the song Day and Night begins softly in the background as Rachel continues speaking calmly again to the audience. But it was just a dream after all, and this dream belongs to the day, not to the night. What the day ultimately preserved of this dream was not a consequence or an insight, but only the tormenting question, why did I not actually kill him? I do not know what in actual life keeps me from acting that way, or rather, I know precisely, though I do not know how to name it.
What's the use of days constant gratitude for life's being understandable if the night provides an endless panorama of images, a vast web of incomprehensibilities.
The story of the heart of the world and the spring. There is a mountain, and on that mountain there stands a rock. The spring gushes forth from that rock. Now everything has a heart, and the world as a whole has a heart. The heart of the world is a complete form with face, hands, and feet. And even the toenail of that heart is more heart-like than any other heart. The mountain and the spring stand at one end of the world, and the heart is at the other. The heart stands facing the spring, yearning to draw near to it. It is filled with wild yearning and constantly cries out in its longing to approach the spring. The spring too longs for the heart. Now, if the heart is filled with so great a desire to draw near the spring, why does it not simply do so? As soon as it begins to move towards the mountaintop where the spring emerges, it disappears from view, and the life of the heart flows from that spring. So if it were to allow the spring to vanish from its sight, it would die. If the heart were to die, God forbid, the entire world would be destroyed. For the heart of the world is the life of all things. How could the world exist without a heart? For this reason the heart can never approach the spring, but stands opposite, looks at it, and longs.
What use is it to be brave and taciturn, to deny the ultimate burden and profoundest unhappiness? Too proud to let even oneself share the secret. If the night reveals all, if the night refuses to keep silent, refuses to fulfill its function, and provide a dark and lulling background for the weary soul, if it deceptively transforms these shadows into life's ground and native soil,